Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home and Away, a podcast devoted to all things in and around the world of sport in Kansas City soccer. I am Drew Vanderploeg, joined once again, as always, by my good friend Cody Welton. This week on the podcast, no longer do we need to search for silver linings. Sporting Kansas City won a game. No silver linings necessary. 3 points on the board will suffice every single time. They go to LA, they get the 3 points, they look generally competent across that time. And also we have the debut of a man we've been waiting for on this podcast for quite a while. Lasse Berg Johnsen gets out on the field, does his thing, gets a game-winning goal. All is right in the world again. We feel good right now. This is going to be celebratory. We're going to be feeling ourselves a little bit. It's okay. It's okay to enjoy this. Is this team unbelievably good now? No, they are not. They're not. They're not. But that's okay. We can enjoy the result. We can enjoy the progress because there was progress. There's significant progress in this one. And I think it's something worth celebrating a little bit and looking into and discussing. We will get all into the different tactical nuances of this game, in fact, including the fact that this was probably the closest thing to a 4-3-3 that we've actually seen this year, as well as talk about the things that we saw from MLS this weekend that we enjoyed. The Kansas City Current get a win in their first game in a very up and down match, I would say, for them. First half, second half, very much different stories for that team. And then we will try to give you a little bit of a preview of this weekend's game against the Colorado Rapids. So, Cody, let's start more with the tactical side of this. As I noted, this was probably we've seen this 4-3-3 graphic several times before games this year. Didn't really operate much like one in a lot of those games. This is probably the closest thing we've seen to one so far, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, and especially by virtue of having Johnsen play the single pivot role like that. That is like a hallmark of the 4-3-3, and especially when it's played at a high level. And I thought that what you saw was him sort of shifting into there. I mean, there are, to be clear, there are still some aspects of that sort of like positional and tactical flexibility and fluidity that we had seen in the previous 3 iterations of this team this season. So that was really interesting. Like Shoppy's positional movement and flexibility I thought was really interesting, but for the most part I thought that this was more like a 4-3-3. It was not like a Peter Vermes 4-3-3. It wasn't sort of like really wide where all the wing players and the fullbacks were all setting up as wide as they could, creating space in the middle. In fact, it was much more of a sort of narrow, very narrow, press and counter type of approach, which got 3 points, so hooray for that.
It looked a lot like what they've been doing, just in a slightly different arrangement.
Yep.
They've been collapsing the center and trying to make it difficult to play through the middle most of the season already. That's kind of been a hallmark of the Wiki regime in Sporting Kansas City is forcing play wide, forcing opponents to try to come in from wide areas, and then having the numbers there to close them down. And you saw most of that. In fact, it was very, very significantly one-sided, like one side of the field, I thought. Eric Tommy's side was very much the direction that the Galaxy seemed to continue to push, which I thought was interesting because Jaden Reed's probably the best defender that we had on the field. And they kept going at him, and he kept eliminating Tommy. Like, I don't think Tommy had a good game at all in this one.
No.
I think he was pretty poor in this one.
Great.
But I think maybe the expectation, they didn't want to put expectations on Harbor Miller on the left to be a main progressive outlet. So I sort of understand why you put it at Tommy's feet, but I think that Sporting negated it. Go ahead.
As we know, as Kansas City fans, like Tommy, like the ball goes to Tommy, right? Like he demands the ball. He's a player who makes himself available, and what happens after that is sometimes less than desirable. But he does demand action.
Sort of, right? Like he demands to be participating in the action,
right?
does he actually create action?
No,
Sometimes?
that was part of the problem. That's why it was okay to let him walk.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. I mean, well, and Jaden Reed could just wait for him to get the ball and then close him down. And
Yeah.
Reed was, I mean, geez, Jaden Reed's a big fullback, man.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
He is a plus defender. Like really, he's he's a minus attacker, but he is a plus defender. And at this point, I really don't have any qualms about him. Executing the defensive part of his responsibilities. He has proven this far in the season that he's really superb at that portion of the game. And that's not, unfortunately, that's not the only expectations that a fullback has in the modern game. But it's good to see. Like I am very happy that this team is sort of hanging their hat on being defensively more solid and more difficult to break down from the outset, because that's how you build quality teams. It's a lot easier to build a coherent defensive approach and then layer in attacking principles on top of that than it is to do the opposite.
I think it's noteworthy that the XG has gone down every week. Even LA,
the XGA, you mean?
Yeah, the XGA. Yeah, I'm sorry. The XGA has gone down every week. And even though the Galaxy did end up with sort of doubling Sporting's XG, half of that came in that one shot sequence, 4-shot sequence where Royce finally scored. One thing I'm really looking forward to with John Mueller and Mike Imbruglio's app is that it sort of negates that in the XG in the XG measurement. They have a process by which they look at a phase of shooting. Mm-hmm. So if there are multiple saves or rebounds, they don't take it all and aggregate it together, which is what XG does now. You all 4 of those shots became 0.99 XG. Mm-hmm. And so that gives you a false sense of what the Galaxy actually created in that game. They created one really good scoring chance there, and they created a bunch of really small scoring chances otherwise.
Yeah.
And I think that shows Sporting sort of limiting their ability to get decent shots on goal. And also, no Peck, no Paintsel, and supposedly their supposed DP on the field is Joao Klaus. And I think that, yeah.
I mean, he was anonymous.
He got a couple shots off in this one. Most of them were due to the kinds of things that Klaus takes advantage of, right? Bad pass. Jake Davis hits a really bad pass building out on around the 40th minute that Klaus jumps on, and Pulskamp makes a nice save. And then other than that, I think really early in the game, he had a decent attempt, and then that was it. It never really felt like he was in that game that much. And I think that all goes down to the team defending. That was a big thing that I took away from watching this match, is the team defending was really good.
Yep.
Were there circumstances that they were recovery defending? Yes, of course there were. But that happens to every soccer team. It's more about how do you handle those situations and close down the opponent. And I keyed time after time in my rundown of doing the rewatch of Bartlow or Meyer or whoever stepping into a crossing lane or clearing a ball as it looked like it was going into a danger area. It rarely got to a place where you thought LA was going to score outside of that one scoring sequence. And I think and then the turnover that Klaus got on. I don't remember watching it and thinking, I was super concerned about LA scoring in this game.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. You give up that many shots, and sometimes they're going to go in, and you're going to give up goals that way. But it was pretty clear in this one that the players that were more likely to score were wearing blue.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting place to be in a match in MLS this year, because I don't think we ever really with this roster we really expected that to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it does need. There are a lot of caveats in play here, right? And the fact that Galaxy was missing Peck and Paintsel, and the Galaxy also, they're not a good team. I mean, we're going to play Colorado, this weekend. Colorado has already beat the Galaxy this season, so.
But that was in the game that Peck got sent off, and they scored
Sure.
three of their 4 goals up a man. So
Sure.
like there's something to be said for that.
Sure. Absolutely, those game states are worth mentioning, but this is not this is definitely an LA Galaxy team that's a work in progress, and I think Sporting took advantage of that. I don't think that there was a good blueprint for how to approach, especially attacking without Peck and Painsel, and I think we already sort of mentioned Eric Tommy, and I think you were able to see the limitations of Eric Tommy, who's not a player who is able to, provide, good service and really elevate the play of those around him necessarily. And, I think that that's a big part of the reason why Klaus struggled to be effective, is because, there really wasn't anything else going on. And, I do think it's worth underlining what you said. It's not just the score line, but Galaxy, even with their possession numbers out possessing Sporting Kansas City, even given that they still did not look dangerous throughout the evening, and I think that is. As you rightly pointed out, that's a tribute to the way that the team has been playing defense. The crowding of the middle is definitely a part of that, but also, it's not like that wasn't being done at all last year. One of the big differences is when the ball goes out wide because the middle is clogged. We have defenders who are willing and able to close down those balls and keep them from becoming better chances. And so when the ball goes out on the right wing or the right wing to whoever it is, and Reed is out there to shut whoever it is down, like he's out there immediately, and it is really difficult to get by that guy. And I think the same can be said for Jake Davis on the other side. And what you're seeing this year is you're seeing a lot of defensive help from whichever wing players are available. And so that meant Shapi Suleimanov coming down on the left hand side and really providing a lot of help on Saturday night, which was, I think, unexpected for you and I for sure. And it's really good to see, right? I mean, this team is just not good enough, either in defense or attack, to have people taking plays off. And I think that's been established by Wiki. That's a really positive sort of cultural benchmark that's been established, is that everybody plays defense, everybody plays offense. So there's no free riders at all in this club right now, and that's nice to see, right? Because those players are working their butts off on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, let's discuss the Shapi Suleimanov role in this game. I think you called it a left wing mid backfielder. I think even Wiki mentioned after the game he was almost playing as a wing back, but inverting a little bit to allow Reed to overlap, which I don't know if we saw the Reed overlap as much in this one.
I don't know if you want to see it. That might be more of an aspiration than anything else.
He whizzed a couple crosses in that one that looked like it might catch Harris, but yeah, I mean nothing like it was a clear intent to get Reed on the overlap, serving and crosses. But Shapi was defending quite a bit and playing fairly narrow, as well as also like providing assistance defensively in the wide areas when Galaxy would try to overload, and it didn't stop the Galaxy from continuing to try to play down that side.
Yeah.
So it worked. They sort of played into Sporting's hand a little bit. I got to give Wiki a lot of credit. I don't know if he sort of scouted these guys and figured that they would want to play this way. I don't know what it was, but he had the defensive strength set up on the side they wanted to go down.
Yeah.
And they struggled to take advantage of it. The couple times that the Galaxy got joy was simply when Royce didn't get closed. That was it. Like, you just can't leave Marco Royce open in space to pick out a pass. As long as you don't do that, I don't think Royce had a very good game. He had a couple nice ones, and of course he, in the scramble gets the header for the goal. But most of the game, Royce was anonymous.
Yeah.
And I think that it had to do with the fact that they just weren't allowing any progression to get down the side. It looked like what Vanny was trying to do was progress down that side with some overloads and then get sort of the cut in ball to Royce sort of in the half space. It just was never there because Sporting was doing a pretty good job of eliminating it from happening. Like I said, there was one time where Meyer and Reed missed the handoff, and they didn't rotate with each other very well, and LA got behind them and got into a good scoring position. There was another time where Jake Davis was candidly gassed and didn't close Royce about the 89th minute, and it was right before Jansen Miller came on. You could tell Wiki could tell that he was gassed and needed to get him off the field. Yeah. But I mean, other than that, like there's some nitpicky stuff in here. But I mean, it's just stuff that happens in a soccer game. I was pretty impressed with how organized Sporting was in this one, and I think it's noteworthy because, yes, the Galaxy were not at full strength. Yes, they definitely were missing two very dynamic wingers. But Sporting is not what we would call a good roster right now. Like their position, like Mark Caffers brought it up several times. It's like he's exaggerating a little bit, but the worst roster ever put together in the league. We know that that's not what anyone is saying, but most pundits had this team as spoon candidates, not even candidates. They were putting them as the odds-on favorite to win the spoon. And so when Sporting comes up against a team of similar levels of talent, you see them play adequately, and professionally, and look like they deserve to be in the game. They don't get trucked, and I'm not sure that was true of this team last year.
No, I think that has everything to do with the fact that they're playing together, and they're all bought into a system that I think plays to their strengths, right? And so they're not playing a system that necessarily is going to depend on, for instance, that left back overlap, because that's not ever going to be Reed's strength. They're playing a system that plays to Reed's defensive strengths for sure, and so even though maybe that turns the team more into a counterattacking team, they have to be that in order to be successful at this point, because they don't have enough good players, and they don't have enough good players who played together long enough to play, sort of attacking, attractive front-footed soccer. But that's okay, because you don't have to play that kind of soccer to win, right? That's aesthetically maybe more pleasing, but what they're showing right now is that it's much better to play this sort of like everyone in. All for one, you attack as a team, you defend as a team, and that's really, I think, what's working for them at the moment.
Well, I think that what we're seeing with this team is they don't want to just have the ball to have it. Yeah. They want to have the ball to try to score. That is when they have the ball, they are trying to push the ball forward into goal scoring areas,
and do it quickly.
And do it quickly. I think Wiki has said several times over the last couple games they're maybe being a little bit too impatient, which, okay, that's fine. It's easier to pull that back than it is to push it, right? And
you can do that in one half, which is what Vlatko showed.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Or not Vlatko. Oh my God.
It was really Chris Armas,
to
be completely honest. But yeah, I mean, you can impact, You can talk to him at halftime and be like, okay, maybe just give it a half beat on the ball. Maybe don't try to one-touch everything. Maybe don't try to push it into every tight window. Let's make sure that it's going to go to a place positively, because we don't want to create bad turnovers. I think that's what Wiki's talking about, is he doesn't want bad turnovers. I think Joel Enderle mentioned this in the Discord when he finally got to watch the match in the first half, that he was concerned about the level of turnovers playing out of the back. I don't think playing out of the back specifically, but definitely there were turnovers in the middle third quite a bit, trying to do shit that didn't come off. And I think that, there's definitely a Sporting Kansas City fan base PTSD related to midfield turnovers turning into downhill events and goals.
Absolutely.
And it certainly could happen against a better team that's at more full strength than the Galaxy were. So I do understand that mindset. But I think that your point is valid, is like, you can come out and put a competent performance in without sitting on the ball for 60% of the game.
Yep.
And you can look positive and take advantage of positive moments without. I mean, I watched the Sounders in San Jose, and that was a fascinating game this weekend. That I do think San Jose was the better team in, but Seattle got more joy out of because they took advantage of their counterattacking moments. And I think that this is kind of what Sporting did in this one. Although I don't think that LA was notably better than them in this one. I just thought they had the ball more.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as a fan of the game, I want to see structure and execution and competence. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
If it as long as it's not haram ball, I'm good with them sitting in a mid block waiting for a turnover and then trying to find it. I don't have a problem with that. It's not like they're sitting back in their own box the whole game.
Yep. That was not the case. That's an excellent point. It's like this is not parking the bus, bunker, counter type transition attacking. This is a lot more nuanced than that, and it's a lot more predicated on winning the ball further up the field and forcing turnovers via pressure, and then going downhill to goal from the midfield or even from the edge of the defensive third, if that's where you win the ball. And I think that. It is a lot more enjoyable as a fan to watch that as opposed to, for instance, what United was doing last year, which was a lot more deep block defending. And sometimes, you're going to have to do that because, you're going to play teams that are more adept at possessing the ball and moving it into the final third and then into the box. So I think that it's good to have that sort of in your toolbox, but that's not what Sporting Kansas City has been relying upon to be competitive so far, and I think that's a heartening thing because it would be, it would be tempting and maybe easy for a lot of coaches to sort of lean on, deep blocks and countering when you're faced with such a talent deficit, but that's not what Wiki is doing. I think that Wiki is using. He's using this tactic as a stepping stone to get his teams to play, more competitive and to play with one another. And then, I think it'll be a lot easier to transition to a more ball dominant system as you acquire the players who are adept at doing that.
So speaking of acquiring players that are more adept at doing that, Lasse Berg Johnsen.
Dude, that dude was so good, man. It was worth the wait, worth everything. Like,
I'm just glad I pumped this guy up a lot.
Yeah.
And I was a little concerned because it's his first game, and we knew he was gonna start as soon as he was available because this team was so bereft of quality on the roster that there was certainly going to be an instant inclusion in the 11. And I don't think he was perfect by any means, but man, what a player!
Yeah,
isn't it? It's the 6 who was promised, man.
Like you and I have said so many times, it's not just us. It's not like I'm not patting ourselves on the back or anything, but like having an elite player at that position is such a cheat code in just the game of soccer. Period. Is because that player allows everybody around them to be better. It facilitates attacks, and we saw Johnsen do that a couple of times. Really nice balls forward. Really nice switched balls into the sort of attacking third or into half spaces. But then the team made a pretty seamless transition from having 3 center backs, right? Not just like fullbacks playing center backs, but having 3 center backs on the field at all times in the previous games to having 2, and Johnsen is a big part of the reason why that's successful is because he's able to cover ground. He had like the most touches on the team. He shielded the back line, but he also came forward and took 2 shots and had a goal. I mean, like this is like a complete well-rounded performance by a player who has the potential to be an elite number 6 in MLS. And that's gold, man. That is gold.
Yeah, we're going to try not to get too far out.
Not me. I'm out over my skis big time.
He had a very good performance.
He did.
I mean, as good as you probably could have expected.
Yep.
From a guy coming in his first start for this team. Obviously, the game-winning goal and being. I mean, the notable thing about that goal, he's the third runner.
Yeah.
On that play.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fuck the rest of the team is, but there's Lasse out there as the third runner on that play. I'm not sure. Like, Afrifa gets a quote-unquote assist on this one. This is a pretty bad pass.
Yeah.
This is not a good pass.
Yeah.
Danny Higginbotham has given Joveljic all these stars for leaving it. I'm like, I don't know what Joveljic was supposed to do with that. So, like, if he heard Lasse behind him, he's probably like, well, fuck, I can't do anything with this. Let me see what he can do. Yeah. Because Joveljic had one earlier where he could have squared it to Harris. And in the first half, there was one where Joveljic takes a shot where there's a square ball to Harris. I mean, it's not an easy one across the front of goal, but I mean, a guy of Joveljic's quality, you expect to sort of put it on Harris's feet in a goal. So we know Joveljic is going to shoot. We know he's going to shoot.
We want him to.
We want him to shoot. We're not mad at him for shooting. He had no shot.
Yeah.
So that was, and it was not a great pass.
Oh,
but
but the presence of mind for Johnsen to come in and direct that ball, towards the far post, away from his body direction. Like,
not the greatest goalkeeping by Mikovic on this either.
No, not at all. But you gotta make it as difficult as you can for goalkeepers, right. And that's what I guess my point is, that's what a professional does, right? He doesn't just hit the ball right at the goalkeeper, just trying to get it on frame. Like, he picked out a corner and just that's and kept the ball on the ground. And
did it one time. Like, I mean, the ball's moving and he's coming onto it at speed and he just hammered it. I mean, he hit it hard on the ground right inside the post. It's really well taken.
We don't expect him to be a regular scorer, but it's nice that he got off on the right foot now, and now it's just about finding out who else is going to score. Like, I don't think we can expect him to score, and you can't expect Decky to score every single goal that Sporting Kansas City tries to score, and so there's got to be some other players getting involved. But that is a problem for another time, right? Like, I mean, this is an opportunity to congratulate a team for doing what they needed to do and getting 3 points.
I mean, the goal is great, and we love that, and we love the win and all that. But really, what I noticed in the game, obviously, his performance was at a very high level of a D mid in MLS. Just everything he did in this game just reminded me of what a good soccer player does.
This is a performance that you see from players like Sverskov and Kubas, and you just name any of the other top level number 6s in the league, and this is right up there with those performances. And it didn't even like seem that like crazy. It wasn't like, oh my god, look at this guy, which again is sort of the point of a defensive midfielder. You shouldn't be doing those things. It should just be, hey, everything in the midfield's really calm right now. Weird. Yeah, it wasn't frantic, it wasn't chaotic, it was controlled, and it focused the onus of play on other places, which is good.
I mean, he hit a 60-yard diagonal to Shoppy that was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, oh my God. And then Shoppy did what Shoppy does, and I yelled at the television. But the ball was absurd. And he had there were a couple circumstances where you saw him and Manu link. And so Manu was playing higher. He was the second forward in the pressing two of the 4-4-2. He was definitely, average positioned higher to kind of be the next outlet for Lasse. If Lasse was on the ball, he would find Manu. And we didn't see it as much as I'd like to have seen it, or would hope to have seen it, but we did see it a couple times, and it was on display. It wasn't like anything crazy, but it was part of the sequence that got Joveljic on for the first goal. And there was a couple other times where you saw it turn into something where I was like, okay, this could be really, when these guys get really used to each other, this is going to be fun. Like, there's going to be some fun ball progression.
I think there's that, but there's also the, like, one of the things that I'm enjoying about this team is that I can see this sort of, principles of play in action, and I can see, you know, just frankly, players that are better players really excelling at the roles that the other players are being put in. Like I can see, like, oh, okay, like if we had a left back who was could defend adequately and also attack and give crosses and those sort of things in the final third, I can see how this system would really enable that kind of player. And so I think that the right-sided 8 is a perfect example. Like you can see how this system could really benefit and feature from having a higher level player than Bart at that position.
Just if Justin Reynolds gets back.
Right, it makes a huge difference.
And you move Jake into that position, and Reynolds
Yep.
is a much more aggressive attacking fullback.
Mm-hmm.
You're no longer so concerned about Jaden Reed doing much. You can actually, he can be the back of, if you're doing your 3-2-5, he can stay a little bit deeper and defend, and you can send Reynolds on the overlap a lot on that side with Jake Davis, and then you have Manu. I can immediately see this team becoming much more interesting on the attacking side of things, just with that small tweak. And we're not talking about like elite player changes here. We're just talking about like leveling up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bartlett, I want Bartlett to be better. I really do. And I think
playing... he was the G+ leader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you mean?
He was. Anyway. Yeah, he was a G+ leader. He also fucked up several things in this game, significantly. Yep. And I want to be careful about like how I evaluate him, because he's a 20-year-old kid who I think, as you mentioned last week, hasn't, seems to have regressed a little bit, but also it's because he hasn't really been in a position to get better.
Yeah.
There hasn't been an environment that would help him improve.
Yep.
And I give Wiki credit for continuing to play him, because I think there is a player in there, and there is obviously some on-field value to the long throws that he can do. He wasn't as bad in this game as he was in previous games, but he's still it was the first minute of the game, and Manu gets on the ball, turns, and passes him into space, and Bartlett wasn't even thinking about running.
Yeah,
he had to start running to get to the ball, which was perfectly weighted to just so Bartlett could get to it before the defender could get to it. And I'm just hoping the more that kind of shit happens, his brain starts to go, oh, I need to be completing these runs. He was just standing and waiting for a pass. And Manu was like, no, you need to be there.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm hoping that some of that starts to sink in. Because I think he will do whatever the fuck you ask him to do. And there is value to that, right?
You could see why he has endeared himself to Wiki as much as he has. Is that kid will fucking work, man, and he will run his ass off from
Vermes would love him. Vermes loved him too, and you can see
minute
why.
90.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, he's a worker, but that's not going to be enough. And I think that. If anything has the possibility of getting him to play up to MLS starter quality, it's playing with players like Johnsen and Manu. You cannot help but become better if you play with players of that quality, because they will stop passing to you, frankly. You're not going to see the ball if you can't get your shit together.
Like Johnsen did to Shoppy late in the game. He just I'm not even going to pass to you anymore.
Why would you? Yep.
I also think that there's less of a risk of him being on the field when he has Manu and Johnsen around him, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think the risk was higher before Johnsen got there, and now you can play him a little bit more and try to see him progress, where you don't have as many concerns. And I said, he will run his ass off to close guys down and do all of the dirty work that you really need from that position, so that Johnsen and Manu can be the ball movers that they need to be, right?
Right.
Like, so there is some value in that as well.
And it's not, it's not only about, running your ass off. I mean, I think that, it's really good for him to get an opportunity to play as that right-sided 8, because that's a sort of a, that's more of a low-risk position for him to sort of develop at than it is for him to play the number 6. And it's really difficult to play a single pivot and to do it well and to do it without having your weaknesses exposed. And I think that that's some of what we saw last year when he tried to play at that position. And so I think it's really good that he's having the ability. Not every kid is Mehmeti for Red Bull, right? Not every kid can slot in and play that position.
Mehmeti's gonna get sold before he's 18 years old.
That guy's
for like 8 digits.
That guy is fucking ridiculous, dude. I'm serious. You just watch him play, and like I watched him again this weekend, and
he's 16. It's absurd.
It's really ridiculous to imagine that he's that age. It's just crazy, man. He does things at 16, and in his first season that he does things that it seems like Bartlett has never even considered doing on the field. Like the way that he gets forward and participates in attack, the way that he reads the game and positions himself off the ball in order to both be an asset in attack and also to be protective in defense. It's really high level stuff, and I'm like all in on that player, dude, because you cannot teach shit like that.
To me, this highlights an issue that Sporting has had with their youth development and their pro player pathway. They are not doing a good enough job of getting young teenagers like Mehmeti and Julian Hall and such that the Red Bulls have an environment where they learn to play at this speed.
Yeah.
What I see in Bartlett is a player that is just not, his brain doesn't react fast enough to the pace of the game.
No.
And that is something that can still be learned at age 20, right? Like, that is something that can be learned. But the fact that Mehmeti is already doing it at 16 shows you a difference in development, right?
So what has to happen, Drew, in order for that to happen, is you have to play those kids.
Well,
even if they're not quite up to it,
But you also need 20 of them in your academy
That's
team.
That's true, too. Absolutely.
Like, there's part of it is that, right? Is that Sporting has 5 or 6.
Mm.
They don't have 20.
Yeah.
And I think that's the huge difference between the Red Bulls and historically what they've done with their youth development and what Sporting has done with it. And they've got to figure out a way to increase the volume of high quality players in their youth platform, in their youth pathway, so that they are all leveling each other up at the same time. Obviously, Philadelphia has been very successful at this as well. You've got to figure out how to increase the number of them. Otherwise, you've got 3 guys just wrecking shop against guys who can't play with them.
Yep.
And that's not good for any of them in that environment, right? You need to have a group of them all sort of pushing each other. So I think, but you're right, also getting them on minutes earlier. I mean, Bartlett should have been learning this when he was 18.
Yeah.
Before he went to college for a year.
Amen. There's no place where he could have done that, right? Like it's not like the SKC.
I mean, he was playing for the second team, but there was no one willing to bring him up and give him minutes or incorporate him into the first team environment. And we don't need to get into this conversation again. Sporting has some work to do in this regard, and otherwise they're going to have a lot more 20-year-olds who just aren't quite there. You know what I mean? And I think that there is a player there. I don't think it's Adri Mehmeti. I don't think Jacob Bartlett is ever getting sold for 8 digits to Europe. I just don't think that's happening. It's not Xavier Gozo. It's not any of these types of guys.
No. But he could have a solid MLS starting career.
100%.
Yep.
And it's taken to this point for Jake Davis to look like that type of player. Mm-hmm. And I think that this, again, there needs to be some changes to how Sporting goes about doing this so they can get these guys moving forward a little bit earlier. Anyway, I do think Jake was kind of whatever in this game. I don't know.
For all the lip service he plays to, even playing goalkeeper if he has to, doing whatever it takes, blah 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 blah. Like, it is clear that he is less engaged in the game when he's playing right back.
Does not give a shit about playing right back. He wasn't bad.
He wasn't good.
The turnover in the defensive third on the playing out of the back was really bad.
Yeah.
But he wasn't good. I also think Calvin Harris was pretty buns in this game. So it's like when that whole side of the field is just sort of like
whatever.
What? Yeah.
The thing with Harris,
it's like Harris, Bartlett, and Davis is your right side, and it was just like where attacks go to die. It was weird. It just wasn't really useful.
I'm grateful for Harris because he stretches the field. But to this point, that is literally all that dude does, is stretch the field and provide that option. And they need more. They need more than that. Honestly, like, you can't.
Afrifa immediately looked like way fucking better when he got on the field.
Yeah.
Like, we're making fun of him for the bad pass that turned into an assist, but honestly, like, he created multiple chances. He got the whole reason that goal happens is because Afrifa's on the ball, stood up against two defenders inside the 18-yard box. And did Harris do that once in this game? Afrifa did that like several times in a 20-minute cameo.
Yeah, I think to some degree, I think that's not what Harris is being asked to do. I literally, like, if you look at the heat maps, like, the rest of the team is playing like in a in a soccer ball, like in a circular zone, like playing with and off of one another.
Congealed blob.
And then Harris is like way the fuck out in like the middle of nowhere. Like, he's
the John Travolta meme.
He is being tasked. He is being tasked to play high and wide and be that danger in behind. And like, that's not the worst thing in the world. That keeps other teams from collapsing in on you and just pinning you back into a low block all the time. If they have to constantly worry that Harris is out there, and Harris's hold up play isn't fantastic, but it's adequate, and
it was decent in this game. I thought that was the one thing that sort of stood out to me. I was like, oh, Calvin Harris, hold up player. I was not really expecting that.
Yep, and like, that's all it has to be, right? Is adequate, is in order to make other teams pay attention to him, and that's what he's doing so far. And if
Jacob Bartlett could do anything with that second ball, they'd be in good shape.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's a big part of it, and that's one of those another one of those things where you can see the potential of what's happening on the field, and you're like, oh, if they had a player who could do that, then they would be a different team to watch.
That's what I'm saying. You move Jake into that role, and he's receiving that second ball. You know what Jake's doing. He's going straight downhill with it immediately. And Justin Reynolds is going on the overlap. And now you actually have danger.
Now you're cooking. Yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to having sort of a disengaged right back who doesn't really want to be there, and a right-sided 8 who just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Amen.
One thing I did enjoy is this team was pretty physical in this game. They saw the referee. They saw the referee they had. It was Ismail Alfath. You knew he's not going to call much.
Yep.
Just not his vibe. And they took advantage. And there was a lot of grabbing. There was a lot of there was just gamesmanship happening.
Yep. And Johnsen came in, and he was he had 5 attempted tackles according to Who Scored, and he was a dynamic defensive presence. And
one of them was an unbelievable recovery tackle. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Because I remember you asking me, "Can this guy run? Is he okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think he's pretty decent."
He's not fast, but he's fast enough, and that's all you got to be is fast.
All you
got
to do is recognize the play soon enough and get there. Yep,
that was a good tackle, absolutely. And if you have a player who can range over to the side like that and make those tackles in the half space, Reed's got the the wide areas in lockdown, and so like all of a sudden now you have the wide areas in lockdown, you have the half spaces in lockdown, you need a lockdown right back, and then you have everything in lockdown, and you have defensive help in the center, and you can see like the pieces coming together of a team that is very solid defensively, but also has the ability to move forward with some dynamic attacking. Yeah. Suleimanov was the leading player with tackles attempted, which is not a surprise. Like he was tasked with a more defensive job, and he was executing it.
And he took it on. And I mean, like I said, we were making jokes in the Discord about this. Has Shoppy become the really nice dude who will do whatever you ask him to do, but isn't really that good at soccer now that Kyrie is gone?
I don't know. Like, he doesn't seem nearly as nice as Kyrie.
Honestly. I'm not on the field, but Shoppy is like, if you ever talk to him, he's the genuinely the nicest human being. Okay,
that's good.
He really is. Like, he is the gentlest, like, nicest person for sure. On the field, he looks kind of like a dickhead.
Yeah,
but he's really he's really just the nicest, like the softest person you can imagine. and it's just like now that Kyrie is gone, we've got a guy, making way too much money that will do anything the coach asks. Right. It's also really, really nice, so I feel bad talking shit about it.
I mean, every team has to have players who will just do a job, right? And it's not his fault he makes so much money, right? He's making what the team is willing to pay him, and so one thing I can appreciate about him specifically and Wiki is that Wiki is not shy, has not been shy in moving him around and finding a place for him, right? When you have a player who's taking up that much salary space, who is even though he's not like great, he's better than a lot of the other options that are on the squad right now, and so you have to find a way to leverage that talent into a competitive vision, and that's what Wiki has done, and that's why I'm really heartened by everything that we've seen so far, is because it looks like there's a coach here who's paying close attention, and who's not just doing service to his own sort of vision of what is aesthetically the best soccer. He wants to build a team that's competitive, and he realizes that means putting players in a position to be successful. That's what it looks like to me is what's going on, and that's all I ever asked for, honestly.
Well, and going back to your point earlier about the structure being there, I cannot tell you the number of times I saw the ball at Shoppy or Bartlett's feet, and there is a sort of progressive semi-square ball that like gets them forward faster, that they turned around and went backwards on, and I'm just like throwing shit at the television. The structure is there. Like I can see. It got to a point. I mean, it took maybe an hour of this game before Lasse was like gesticulating at Shoppy, going, "What the fuck, dude? Come on!" Like, ball goes here.
One of the nice things about Johnsen is he was gesticulating from the very beginning, not to Shoppy specifically, but just in general. Like it was ball
like go here, ball go here.
Right. It was like when Eric Tommy, when Eric Tommy first came in, we saw him in his first games, like really being a conductor out there, and that we appreciated that leadership, and that's the same thing with Johnsen is we appreciate that leadership because he is taking control, which is what you want that player to do. And that is going to again just raise the level of everybody around him.
I touched on this earlier, but the other really nice thing about this game is we definitely had the two best players on the field.
Yep. Yeah.
Manu was ridiculous in this game. He was so good at this game.
He's so good.
Even Danny Higginbotham at one point was like, I just like watching him. Like watching him. He's so good. Yeah. There was a sequence of like a couple minutes where he had multiple circumstances where he like chested the ball forward on a pass, chested it to drop it, hit the ball. Like obviously the assist he hits to Joveljic on the goal is just like he finds that pocket between three defenders, knows how to wait just the right amount of time, releases the ball. Joveljic goes in, and Joveljic, what a fucking player, man. What a player, dude. He's a fucking assassin, dude.
He really is. Just give him the ball in the box. Just like it sounds oversimplistic, but really like.
Well, and he wasn't even in the box in this one. He played left winger on this one. Drove down, chopped Justin Hack to backwards, goes on the inside, then uses Yamada as a pick so that Mikovic can't see the shot, and just rips it into the far net. And I was just like, dude, like I saw this goal and I was like, what do you fucking even do against that? Like, what do you do?
You don't?
Like, if you're a Galaxy player, you're just like, shit. I mean, he's just better than us, I guess. Pick the ball out of the net and go back to the center circle. I don't know what you do.
Well, then what did he say? Like, I hope they get used to it because I'm going to score a lot more goals. I mean, fuck yeah, let's go.
He's done that shit against St. Louis too.
Like, right? I kind of wonder, like, I do wonder about him. Like, what prompted him other than the paycheck, which is a big deal, right? But what prompts a player like that to move to Kansas City instead of somewhere in Mexico or somewhere in Europe?
I mean, it was Tigres. That was the other option, right? It was Tigres. Yeah,
that's a big fucking club, man. And but he made a conscious choice to like come here and not just be a man at Tigres, but to be the man here. And you just gotta love what you see from him. He is all class, and if you get him touches anywhere around the box, you're going to get goals. And the fact that dude scored as many goals as he did last year on that team is like he should have been up for MVP. Honestly, like it's amazing.
Well, and I think they mentioned it on the broadcast. Like, is he? Maybe J. Sam Jones said something about it in an article that I don't read MLSsoccer.com anymore, but
is there anything worth reading on there?
Like, apparently, there was an article there talking about whether or not Joveljic is the most underrated player in the league. I don't know if he's. I mean, I think most people know who he is and know how good he is, but I don't think he gets talked about even in the same way that Peter Musa gets talked about. So,
no, not even close.
Yeah, so I think. Yeah, there's I don't know what it is about him. I don't know, he's again got the worst G+ in the league, but he's out here just banging in goals. I really don't care. I'm kind of like I know that he's going to score.
Yep. And if you put even a competent system with halfway decent players around him, like you're gonna get 20 goals a year. Like it's going to happen.
I mean, there was a sort of give and go situation where Manu played him in early, and I was around the 25th minute or something, somewhere around that range. And this ball from Manu was like as perfect as it could possibly be hit. Like it's only like a 12-yard pass. But it is on the exact perfect weight so that Joveljic can one time it. It's narrow angle, and he's not going to score there every time. But it completely eliminated like 3 defenders.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's the kind of shit that like we have these guys that can do this.
Yeah.
We just got to find out. We got to get enough other players around them to allow them to do it more often, and you're going to see this team cook. I promise. Like the ingredients are there. The structure is there. And the high-level players are there. We just need to get some, like, medium-level players around them. Yeah. A couple more LBJs. And this team is going to be in really good shape. One of them is on the way. Couple weeks, I'm hearing. That may help, certainly, with some of this winger play, for sure. So
I think that's going to be a really big deal. It's
going to be a huge deal.
It's hard to say stuff when all you see is YouTube highlight packages and whatnot. But man, like Kapita is the real deal, and he is going to really just up the entire level of the team with his presence, I think. And it's like having Harris, except like someone who can turn that into chances, right? It's
someone who when they get the ball at their feet, can actually stand up a defender, get by them, find a pass for one of his teammates running. I think Harris. I'm not
100% sure that Kapita can do that part of it. I know that dude will create shots for himself. I think that the passing right now, the passing remains to be seen. So, but he will absolutely be goal dangerous. I guarantee it.
I have more faith in his ability to pass than you do, but he's definitely going to get deep and take a lot of shots. And we're referring to Kapita Kapemba, who, for those of you listening to the pod that have been living under a rock, he was officially announced as the latest addition to the Sporting Kansas City roster. I'm saying 2 weeks because that's what I'm hearing is about kind of how far out he is on getting a visa. It's kind of like and we don't expect him here until he gets that process done.
Yeah.
Mainly because he's taking his wife needs to come with him, and there's a variety of other things they need to get together. So, as opposed to LBJ, who actually did come to Kansas City first and be around the team and do media day and all those things, and then go back to Norway. Kapita is going to stay, I think, in Poland and get his house together and all that stuff, and then go down to Angola and get his visa and come in. So, I'm hearing couple-ish weeks for that process to be completed. I would be remiss if we didn't at least highlight John Pulskamp in this one, because it was another really good performance from John. It was a good performance.
It was a great performance. His saves were fantastic.
Why are you chuckling?
Because it's just I don't know. It's just a chuckle. It's just a patting ourselves on the back chuckle more than anything. Like, we were right. Like, I mean, there's a player in there. Who knows how, what the ceiling of that player is. Maybe it's not even MLS starter, but it seems like it is.
Even just a semi-competent back line in front of him.
It's amazing, right? And this is, I think that's a really good point to make, is that this isn't even like a great back line at this point. We're Stockholm syndromed into thinking that, like, holy shit, like, this is like what a defense is. It's not. Like, it's better than it was last year, but
giving up way too many shots.
We are, and our XGA is way too high. But it's the thing is that even with that, just having that sort of level of organization in front of him, he's gone from being one of the worst keepers in the league by all the underlying metrics to being like a competent starter, to being at least maybe a league average type.
He's above average goalkeeper this year so far.
So far, it's a small sample size, but
it's a small sample size. It 100% is. It's the second game in a row where he's like saved over a quarter of a goal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and if you're saving a quarter of a goal as a goalkeeper in MLS, that's like top 5 in the league.
Yep.
Or top of the league generally. So we're talking about a guy who, like, is really having a fairly decent start to the season. We don't know how this is going to continue. We're going to have to wait and see how the season shakes out, but he was very good in this game.
Yep.
I think he gets hard done by on LA scoring, to be completely honest.
He did. He had a great double save.
The tip save was absurd.
Great.
Dude.
It was really great.
It was really great, and it just shit happens in scrambles like that sometimes. But I thought he was very good in this one, and it's 2 straight where I thought he was like notably very good in the game.
And the thing is you're seeing an improvement from week to week. I think, like, his distribution is getting better. Like, I don't ever expect him to be like a plus like distribution type goalkeeper. That's not going to be him. But like, he can be good enough, and I think that
he's the best long ball guy in the back line. Period.
Well, that is absolutely true. Like, and we know that.
And it's not just long, but he puts it at a guy's feet. Like, his accuracy on long passing is actually really, really good.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree.
I did appreciate him 100% giving Afrifa the business in the 97th minute when Afrifa went towards goal. You're up 2-1. Afrifa's on the ball, and I understand, like, Steven, you don't get to play that much right now. Like, you're trying to go. He goes towards goal and turns the ball over, and Pulskamp was like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? Go to the corner flag." It was like 96-20 of 7 minutes stoppage time, and Afrifa goes towards goal with the ball by himself. Like, there's no one around him. Come on, y'all.
That's good, though. I mean, like, to see Pulskamp do that, like, that's leadership, right? That's good. Right. Like, Pulskamp wants to fucking win. And he's like, dude, pull your head out of your ass. We are close to winning. Get your shit together. This is not time for hero ball. This is time to play smart and to play team ball. And that's a step forward in Pulskamp's development.
I think we're starting to see a little bit more vocal leader out of Pulse Camp too, which is good.
He has a lot more confidence. He's in much more control of his box, and I don't know exactly why that is. If
claiming crosses this year is so much better than the past.
He has been very good at that. Absolutely.
He had that punch late that was really good. Like, and he's often missed that punch. Like, I don't know what it is, but
he's turned on. He's not
so
hesitating. I think that's a big part of it. He's just going and trusting himself and not hesitating. And he's been lucky a couple times, and that's okay. Like, that matters, right? Because that luck helps build confidence, and that confidence helps.
Flow state is real, man.
Absolutely.
Flow state is a real thing.
Absolutely.
Like, if you get rolling, like, things start going your way because you're like playing the game you're not reacting to the game. You're creating your own reactions.
This is why coaching matters, right? And this is why being able to put your players in a position to succeed matters. Is because being able to help players achieve that flow state where they're just killing it on instinct and the training's kicking in and they're not having to think about it. They're just doing what they need to do with confidence and with purpose. Like, that comes from good coaching, and good coaches get like the majority of their team playing like that at the same time, and that's when you see teams become like more than the sum of their parts. And it's been a long time since we've seen
the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Right, that's the thing. Like, all of those guys play out of their mind. Why? It's the same fucking guys that were there when Sartini was there. But why are these guys all playing like better than they've ever played before? Like, that is coaching. That is, and it's a little it's kind of vibesy. It's kind of weird and soft in that way, but it is absolutely a thing.
And I do believe, like, I have seen enough of the technical skills of Jacob Bartlett to believe that if we could get him into that state, he would actually be a good player.
Yeah.
He would be.
Yep.
We just got to figure out how to get him to stop thinking so much.
Yeah.
There's too much thinking going on.
Yep.
You got to turn the brain off somehow. Like, I just, because if he's thinking, he's reacting, not like impacting. And I think that those are two different things. And Pulse Camp like struggled with this for a while.
Yep.
And we're seeing a guy with some confidence playing in the zone a little bit and in his flow state, and you can see that there's a really good player there. And also, like, Pulse Camp's 25. Like, this
it does make a difference.
Like, but I think, listen, we were kind of unsure about him last year and whether he would come back and be the starter. But it's clear that playing every fucking minute of every game last year was valuable to him.
Absolutely.
And so I don't want to pull Bartlett off the field just because he's struggling. I want to figure out how to get that brain to compute all that stuff that he's experienced into something positive. And I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think that there are a few things. Number one, we already discussed it. Playing with good veteran players like Manu and Johnsen will help. Two, playing the same position in a run of games. So and this is the Jake Davis problem, right? Like, not having to go out to right back. Like, if you can come in and you can play a run of games at the 8 and only the 8, even if it's a substitute, like, that makes a difference, right? You're not having to, because playing the 8 in this system is way different than playing the 6. And so not having to toggle back and forth. Some players can do that, but Bartlett does not seem to be one of those players. So just being, having consistent expectations placed on him, regarding his responsibilities on the field, I think will make a world of difference for him.
I agree. And I think that there's good opportunity there. So, moving on. We're going to move on to potpourri, just like your favorite Jeopardy category. We've got a few topics in around the sporting Kansas City MLS soccer sphere. Favorite things from MLS Week 4. I'll let you go first this time because I went first last time. So what was your favorite thing that you saw? Is it Adri Mehmeti?
So, I mean, he was very impressive to me. I'm not going to lie. That probably wasn't my favorite thing I saw. The Petar Musa hat trick was pretty freaking great, honestly. And it's really fun watching players like that play because he is just like head and shoulders above, probably most of the other players in the league at that position. So it's really nice to see that. But I would actually probably have to. My choice would probably be the brace by Chouanier for LAFC, just because it came against St. Louis. It was. I mean, that dude's just a grinder and a great professional player, and to see him score those goals was really great, and to see him score them against St. Louis even better. So anytime we can celebrate St. Louis tiers, it's okay for me. I'm pretty sure they are lower than us on the table right now also, which
that is correct.
That helps. I mean, we'll take it.
The lie detector detected that was a true statement.
Right.
I think I said this at the time in the Discord. It's a little frustrating to me to see LAFC bring on Mateo Chouanier at the end of a garbage time game, or like at the end of a game where they're using only subs, or like the end of their roster. Like, we're over here trying to. I said this at the time in the Discord. We're over here trying to like piece together a midfield with duct tape. Like, we're duct taping it together with our teeth. And they've got like 6 guys that they could just whatever. Like, Steven Eustáquio just hung out on the bench for this whole fucking game.
Yeah,
like,
that's wild.
This is not fair. Igor Jesus is injured, out for a while, and they've just got Timmy Tillman and Mateo Chouanier and all these other options available to Mark Delgado. Like, fuck, man. Like, can I get some of these central midfielders, please, on our team?
I mean, but I mean, you're laughing and joking, but that is like good balanced squad building. That's why LAFC is good, and they're in the mix.
The best in my opinion.
They're in the mix for every single trophy. They're in the mix for every single competition, and in order to do that, especially in this league, you got to be a master at squad building, and I really do think that Lee has those chops. We're just sort of at the beginning of the process.
Yeah.
But like, that's what it takes, right? You have to be that deep. You have to have quality and depth at every position on the field and on the roster.
I'm very interested to see where this team is at the beginning of the 2027-2028 season. I think that will really be sort of like the tester of like how good has Lee done with this. And by the way, New York City FC is fucking rolling right now.
Yeah, they are.
Nico Fernandez Mercado is balling.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a guy that like reportedly David Lee had to like fight CFG to let him sign.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't young enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see he's like one of the better DPs in the league. And obviously Pascal Janssen, the coach that he hired, like, you can see the framework of the things that were going on there. And I do think it's sort of funny to all of the Justin Hawk stuff. Justin Hawk was not very good in this game for LA. He was not good. I don't think he's as great as everybody made him out to be. He had one good season in New York. I think he was more of a benefit of the structure of New York than he was actually a good player. But we'll see. Like, he's fine, but I mean, Jovic abused him on that goal.
Yeah, I mean, he's not alone in that. Jovic does that to folks.
He does that.
For
he
sure.
does. But I mean, like that. But he's not some elite center back that's going to eliminate a play like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I do think that I'm interested to see. Like I said, I think it's going to be. I don't want to do the 3 windows nonsense. We've heard that enough times. But I do think we're in a place where once he's had enough time to really address all of the holes in the roster and also like evaluate the players that he has and figure out how to plug them in, I think we're going to see positives. And you can see with Lasse what a player they've identified there. I think it's fairly clear that Kapita Kapemba is a real player as well.
Yeah.
There are gonna be additions.
It's weird. It's weird, like how quickly it's turned to where like Kapita Kapemba, like I don't have like questions or concerns about him like I would a signing that happened under Peter Vermes, right? Like I already have sort of an increased level of confidence and expectations in terms of like this is a player who's going to come in and contribute. This isn't a a shot in the dark to find a diamond in a rough or a needle in a haystack to kind of like like maybe we chanced upon this player that no one else has got, and he's actually a lot better than what we might expect. Like I felt like every Peter Vermes signing came with that sort of caveat, like who knows, maybe this player is good, maybe he's not good, we're just gonna have to see, right? Like sometimes Vermes has success with players and sometimes not, and it's just kind of like up in the air. And like I feel like the floor of Lee's signings is just so much higher, and what we've seen is a lot more consistent production from those players. Now it could just be bias, and it could just be like me being sort of just ready to move on from the Peter Vermes way of doing things, but it really feels like Kapemba is like a real player. Like you're bringing in a starting quality player who's going to hit the ground running right away, much like the way that Johnsen did.
And they found their guy, they recruited the shit out of him and got him here.
Yep, whatever it takes, sure.
Right? I mean, not whatever it takes. Like,
right, unless you're financially,
Inga. Yeah. Well, but I think Cesar Inga fucked that up, dude. I really do.
I do too. I was making a joke.
But I think, like, if you look, like, it seemed to be a little bit, like, unsure, and part of that is Gonzalo Feo being a fucking weirdo and a crazy person. But also, it's like they had to work to get the deal done.
Yep.
And there was patience, and there was just continued contact and working it out, and they got it done. And now they got their player, and Sporting got their player. And I think there's just sort of a professionalism related to that. I don't want to say that Peter Vermes is not unprofessional, because I don't think that's true at all. I just think that there's just a difference in kind of how they're doing business now. Mm-hmm. Like it just feels more like a normal soccer club.
Well, it feels like a contemporary soccer club. It feels like a
Yeah. And I think it's easy to say that, hey, the league passed Vermes by. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but I do think that that Vermes was late to recognize that people were surpassing him.
Sure.
And then by the time he did, it was sort of too late for him to fix it.
Yeah. It was too late, and he was too short-staffed, honestly.
Right. Well, but by his own creation.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
All right. My favorite thing from MLS Week 4, Nico Shakiris.
He's kind of good.
He's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Did you watch this game?
I did not.
Really good
I did not. But I mean, okay. I know even from watching last week, he's good. He's the real deal.
When we played San Jose, I thought he was decent. I didn't think he was like, oh my God.
Right.
But he's like continuing to level up, as you would expect a 20-year-old number 10 who's playing a lot of minutes to do. And now he has Timo Werner and he has other. I mean, you would think San Jose, I'm thinking Timo Werner, but no, Shakiris was great in this game against Seattle. I know they didn't win this game. Like, I understand, like, they didn't win the game, but Shakiris was significantly dangerous in this game over and over again. He understands space and leverage really, really well for a 21-year-old player or a 20-year-old player. Like, he knows, like, one of my favorite things about watching Manu Garcia play, and I know you know this too, is how he uses his body positioning to sort of draw opponents into a direction that he wants them to go. It's almost like, and I hesitate to use this, but it is a fairly reasonable comparison. It's like magicians when they like tell you to pick a card, but they're forcing you to pick the one they want you to pick.
Right.
That's what Manu does a lot of the time. Like, it's not like these guys are dumb and they don't understand how to read body movement. He is just better than them and puts them in a direction he wants them to go.
Yep.
So that he can go the other way.
He's showing just enough ball movement, just enough body movement in the direction that's going to trick them in order to get them to buy it.
Right.
And then
so that he can go the other way.
Yep.
Yeah, and he can eliminate them. And Shakiris did this a couple times. He did it once, like right at the top of the box. He just uses a little bit of a feint, a little bit of his body movement, and he just totally eliminates a defender and goes the other way and gets a really nice shot off. That is not something that 20-year-olds generally do that well, right? Like, it is just not something you see. And he had a number of slip balls into danger areas. It was just, I was really impressed. And this is a player that, we weren't sure it was in San Jose's plans.
Right. We were thinking he would be a good, player for Sporting to pursue.
Sporting to try to go cash for and make a U22 out of, right? And obviously they gave him the second deal and they put him as a U22 on their team, and good on him, like good on Bruce as well. Bruce is a pretty good eye of talent. Like, dude, he knows.
Bruce is the man.
Yeah.
Like, man, I know he has, problematic things about him, but like that dude is a fucking legend, man.
There's one problematic thing that we don't know all the details of.
Right.
I'm not going to try to make claims one way or another. But he knows talent. He knows soccer.
He does.
There's no doubt about that.
And he knows how to put players in positions to succeed. He's just elite at that. He always has been. It's his it's his thing.
Yeah. And so that was probably my favorite thing. Just watching Nico Shakiris like really sort of wreck shop against a team in Seattle who was very good defensively.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I was Jackson Reagan was also really good in that game, by the way. He was really, really good in that game. But the Shakiris I was really impressed by. Okay, the Kansas City Current. Man, the first half of that game
it was like the sky was falling. It was
Holy
so bad.
Shit.
Like
it was so bad, dude. It was not good.
It was bad. It was
not good.
Really bad, and it really looked like Armas was out of his depth. It looked like the team was focusing on all the wrong things, and they were just. It looked like they hadn't worked on passing the ball at all. Like all they had spent their preseason time on was like pressing structures, and they couldn't even do that fucking right. Like they looked
the
really
pressing
bad.
Structures were bad. Like one
bad.
would press and the other one would stop, and it was just like it was not organized at all. It was really bad. And then the second half began.
Yeah. It's like he took him in the second half. He's like, "You guys know you were like the like the best team in the league by a lot last year, right? Like, get your shit together."
It was interesting. So Sperry noted that taking Cooper off, and she was on a minutes restriction, and bringing on Haley Hopkins sort of stopped them from trying to play long along the right side and cause them to be, use a little bit more normal ball progression patterns.
Hopkins is great.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yep.
Really good in the second half of this one. And obviously, Ali Sentner gets the goal, and Croy Bethune gets her goal. So, like, there was a lot of positives to take away from this one. But, man, that first half I was like, wow, this is really bad. Like, I was concerned. I was really concerned. It's like, you're down 1-0 to the Utah Royals, who also not only are bad, but also have, like, 5 of their players out, their good players out. I'm like, what is going on? And they did come back and look like themselves a lot better in the second half.
I have an unpopular confession to make.
Uh-oh.
I just find Setnor to be just an aggravating player to watch.
She's a struggle for me too.
I can't.
We're in the same place.
Just this year and last year, like I don't know. I mean, here's the problem with players like her, and it's that part of what makes them transcendent players is that they have just sort of a unjustifiable confidence in themselves, and they're always willing to try shit. They're always willing to take responsibility, and that is why they're great. But it also sometimes makes them really frustrating players to watch and really frustrating players to root for. And like, I have had a very difficult time rooting for her as a member of the Current, because like, I think she's frankly like a selfish player, and she tries to do things herself way too much. And
and she did on the goal she scored, by the way. Like,
I know this is the problem, right? Like so many times earlier in the game, like she would try and dribble like 3 or 4 players, and I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Just pass the ball. You have a lift." Like Dabinia is like there, like in space, like all alone, and you're taking on 3 players when you could easily pass the ball to her. And so like I was really frustrated with her, and then she just does that, and you're like, "Oh, okay. Like, it's you don't get one without the other, unfortunately. Like, that's the rub of players like that. It's like in order to watch them be like transcendent and elite, like you have to put up with some of the bullshit. And like I'm out on that, right? Like I'm like a Claire Hutton guy. Like I want players that are just fucking solid and come in with their lunch pail and just work and
by the way, Claire Hutton and Alex Pfeiffer both had a fucking great game for me.
I know. So like that's like, you know, like everybody's all about Sentnor and I'm just like, I suppose so. Yeah, you're right. It was a good goal. It was a good goal. It was
a good goal, but I'm you're not going to get any arguments from me.
Yeah.
I have questions when it comes to Sentnor.
Yeah.
She's not Kat Macario, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Who's coming to the San Diego for like $8 million over 5 years. I mean, good for you, Kat.
Yeah,
get that fucking money.
Yeah,
get it. I love Kat Macario. I love
you
watching
You know
her
who's
play.
the winner in that scenario? Us, because we get to go to the stadium and watch Kat Macario every fucking weekend.
Play.
Yeah, that's good.
Fuck, I'll fly to San Diego to watch
there
her
you go.
Dude. It's not like San Diego's a bad place.
Right, I was gonna say, ooh, poor. That's a real strong word there. I gotta fly to one of the greatest cities in the country. Yeah, San Diego. That dump. Gotta fly to that dump, San Diego.
rough time there watching Kat Macario play in San Diego. Yeah, it's I had the most terrible time getting to San Diego and hanging out watching soccer. I'm with you on Allie. I think she is a good player. She scores. Listen,
of course.
There's no more important thing in soccer than goals.
Yep.
And she does provide them. She has not been providing them for the current. So I am hopeful that this is... They did, at least, I will say this. Armas played her as a 9, which is the role she should be playing. She should never be playing as a midfielder. Ever. Yeah. I know they call her a midfielder on their fucking roster. This player should never be a midfielder. She should be a 9.
She's not ball secure enough. She doesn't pass the ball well enough. That's like...
She does none of the things that midfielders do.
No, she does not.
She's like if Eric Tommy was a woman.
Right. That's
gets the ball. And once the ball gets to her, it's never leaving her foot. It's just kind of how it goes. And can score some unbelievable goals. But yeah. I do think that she's gonna really unload as a 9 when Temwa gets back. When they have Temwa and Cooper, and her as a 9, and Deb underneath,
there's so much danger.
And Croy Bethune is a 8, I guess. I guess.
Yeah, I really like Croy Bethune. I think she's a little less ball secure than I would prefer, but she's
not a central midfielder. She's a 10. Yeah. Like they don't have. They're playing a 10 as a central midfielder. They're just kind of all gas, no brakes in it. Yeah. Like, this is kind of how it's working now. And I mean, they gave up a goal, but I'm not really sure it was because of that. I think it was just because shit happens sometimes.
Yeah.
They were pretty strong defensively, honestly, I thought, in this game. Even with not having the defensive control. They had to face more issues in their own box than they had in the past. I think people don't recognize how much Claire and Lowe just sort of kept problems from ever getting to their defensive third. So they're going to have to face more of those, but they also have Kayla Sharples.
Yeah, so they've got good center backs and they've got a good goalkeeper. I mean, that goes a long way.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I'm glad to see them play better in the second half because that first half was not good.
Yeah, it was concerning.
It was really concerning, for sure. All right. One thing to look for. The Rapids come to town this weekend. Is this team good?
It's really tough to say, right? I mean, I think that, it's a team with a new coach, with a new approach, and I mean, I haven't watched any of their games so far because they're Colorado. Why would I? But I they've got Hafa Nuvahu, who is one of the best center forwards in the league, and they've got Paxton Aronson.
I think our center forward is better than him.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And so, and they also have Paxton Aronson, who is, has started the season very well, and so, I mean, I don't know. Like I think neither one of us really have a good solid idea of what to expect from the Rapids.
Yeah, I think what's been most noteworthy about the Rapids is Darren Yapi playing left wing and being effective at it. Right, I think that
two goals and assists. That's that's pretty good.
Pretty good start to the season for him. So I think
our right back who doesn't want to be a right back will just shut him down. So it's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That is my concern, honestly. Right. Is Darren Yapi blasting down that side, and if it's Jake Davis playing right back, how interested is he going to be in chasing that down for a game?
It'll be Jake Davis with Jacob Bartlett providing significant help, and that's okay. I think that can help. I think that can work.
I don't look at this as a team that we can't compete with. Let me put it that way.
I completely agree. I think that this is a team that is gettable, and we can absolutely get points off of this team. And since it's a home game, we should.
You would hope so. The one thing I remember from this weekend was New York City obviously beat Colorado this weekend, and there was Nico Hansen. Who was in the wall? I'm trying to remember who was in the wall, but there was a free kick goal in this one by Nico Fernandez Mercado, and it was from the far, like if you're sitting in the goal, it's from the far left side, just outside the box, and he had set the wall up to like cover the near post, and whoever was in the wall like sort of cowered away to not get hit by the ball, and it went in near post, and Nico Hansen was pissed. So pissed. I'm trying to remember who it was for the Rapids that did this, but he was absolutely irate with him, and he should have been, because like that's the whole point. You set the wall over there, and they were like, "Well, he was cheating off the post." I was like, "Yeah, that's why he put the wall there, so he could cheat, so that they couldn't beat him far post."
Yep.
So maybe we'll have some opportunities there. Who knows?
I mean, I think that it'll be it's always really interesting to watch players like Paxton Aronson, who is a young player. He's a domestic player. He's a number 10, and they're one of their designated players. And so I think I'm always interested to watch players like that when they come to Children's Mercy Park, just because that's part of the reason why you follow MLS, is to watch young domestic players do their thing. And we don't have a lot of young domestic number 10s, quite like Aronson, who has been brought in and made a designated player and has been basically given the keys to this team, and they are really his team. And so I think that is it's fascinating to watch, but at the same time, we have LBJ. Right, and that is the player who can negate the things that Aronson brings to the game, and I truly expect that to happen. I really expect Sporting Kansas City to be very competitive this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. Aronson has gotten into this weird place with me. When Paxton was with the Union, I thought he was way better than Brendo. Mm-hmm. I thought he was way better. He scaled to me as a much better player than Brendo. Meanwhile, Brendo is still at Leeds, playing in the Premier League and playing fairly well for them. And Paxton is fine, I guess.
So Paxton is a different player, and he's trying to be a different player than his brother. I mean, the reason Brendan Aronson is succeeding at Leeds is because Leeds is a team within the Red Bull network, right? And that suits Aronson's skill set big time. And if nothing else, for Aronson, you will always get the intensity, the pressing, the work rate, always, always, always. And that's not what Aronson's tasked to do. I mean, he is a good defensive player, but he is an attacking midfielder. He is a pure number 10, and so the things that are expected of a player at playing in that position at that profile are way different than what Aronson is being asked to than what Brendan Aronson is being asked to do, and so. That's why Paxton Aronson kind of continues to really kind of intrigue me, is that he's a different profile of player than we see from other members of the pool.
He's definitely a much more creative player, and this sort of goes along to the conversation I was having earlier about Nico Shakiris.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just having some guys. Xavier Gozo, by the way, cooked this weekend. That guy is really good. Really fucking good. He is
very good.
Really good. I think that
that's the kind of impact that I would expect like Kapemba to make, right? Is like a player with really elite level speed who can also be supremely goal dangerous.
Just totally like eliminate a guy in the dribble,
yep.
and then create the next.
Put defenses on their heels constantly. Yeah. Absolutely.
And in fairness to Pax, he's been very good this year. Like he's got a lot of expected assists. He's been very positive for the Rapids. So I like I said, I haven't watched a ton of them play. We'll have to see. I think this is still feels like a team that perhaps that Sporting can get a result off of. And if Lasse is able to sort of negate Aronson's ability to impact a game, maybe that's something that could move in a positive direction. I really hope Justin Reynolds is fit, but it's hard to tell if that's going to be the case or not. It does seem like he was training last week, but hamstrings, man, you got to be careful with them. Yep. You don't want him to re-injure it. So,
I mean, I think that the Rapids are a team. They're one of the few teams in the league, especially in the Western Conference, where Sporting Kansas City compares with, actually pretty favorably in terms of the talent on the field, just the raw talent. And so that's, I think, another reason why I expect them to be more competitive.
I would agree with you, but I would say that they're a little bit more talented on the attacking side than we are. And
sure.
So that is my concern.
There's a low bar, Drew. A low bar. And the only reason I made the comment I did is because LBJ is here and playing. I think that is a super huge deal. Otherwise,
I think if you were to say Navajo and Paxton versus Joveljic and Manu, I would agree with you there.
Yep.
Darren Yapi is an X factor beyond us in the attacking capabilities, and so and they have this guy on loan, Mayumba. So they have more significant attacking options.
Yep.
And we don't have Kapita Kapemba yet. He's not here yet. So that is going to be a concern. What I'm looking for, honestly, is more progress in the way that we saw against the Galaxy. More consistent structure control, more people playing their roles effectively, and just continuing to try to mitigate the number of mistakes in game. And I think we have seen progress in that regard week to week.
Yeah, I agree, and I think along those lines, what I'm looking for is I'm really looking forward to be able to watch Johnsen in person. Because that always sort of colors, I think, the way that I view the game, because I can focus in on that one player, and so I'm really excited to be able to do that, and I think that aside from that, I'm interested to see where the front line ends up lining up. Like if we continue to see Shoppy playing as whatever position he's playing over on the left, and Harris on the right, or if that was sort of a single game sort of positional or matchup dependent positional switch, and we see some more fluidity up top. Like that's one thing about Wiki, man, is he is keeping it interesting, and we've seen like significant tactical shifts from week to week, and even within games, and it makes it like fun and interesting to watch, and so like I'm grateful for that as a fan, honestly.
Yeah, I mean the lineup came out, we were all just sort of like, okay, what how's this gonna look?
Yeah. Lots of guessing.
It was, and certainly the
all of my guesses were wrong. So there's that.
I mean, the structure we sort of figured out was probably a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, but the question of like where players aligned, it was different than anyone expected, and I think that, like you said, that
it sounds like such an insignificant thing, right? Like that is something that we're like, oh yeah, that was really cool. But the fact is that if we are guessing, that means that opponents are guessing too. And that's important, right? And opponents don't know where Wiki's going to put Shoppy in any game. Like, that's kind of a big deal. Like, opponents don't know whether they're lining up against a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3. Like, that matters. All of those things matter, and it makes the team less predictable. And a less predictable team is less easy to play against.
If you and I see the lineup, the list of players come out, and we're really not sure where everybody's going to line up, how the fuck is the opponent supposed to know that? Like, we consume more about this team than probably anyone. As far as, like, sort of thinking about the structures that it could use, the tactical structures, we know more about this than I would assume most scouting guys would from an opponent.
Yeah.
And so if we're looking at it going, I mean, I kind of think it's this, but...
Yeah. It could be this, or it could be that, or I could see that. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That is a benefit.
Absolutely.
And it also, like, when you saw it play out against the Galaxy, it was right. It was correct. What he did was correct.
Yeah. And he put players in places where they could succeed, and the players knew the assignment. Like, that's important, right? The assignment wasn't too complicated for them. They knew the assignment. They knew what they needed to do. Sometimes they were able to pull it off. Sometimes they weren't. And that's just that's just soccer, right? And better players are going to be able to pull off their assignments more often than those who are not. And so I look forward to watching these players pull off their assignments this week. And just the... Reynolds cannot get back soon enough. Like, that's really the thing. Like, man, like that
21-year-old like backup from the fire.
It's crazy to hang your hat on that guy, but like, seriously, it's going to make a huge difference.
There is some work that Wiki needs to do in the right back.
Well, and that is honestly or
Lee
right.
Does,
that's some place where we could really criticize Lee, is that like a backup right back, like that's not a heavy ask. I mean, that's not, maybe it's a starting right back.
I think Reynolds was the backup right back,
right.
And they just never signed the starter.
Right. So maybe that's the case, but I mean, that's that is a hole. Like, it's a glaring hole, and having to play players out of position in order to cover that because you don't have a backup or a starting level player at that spot, like, that's a problem. But it's a problem with a solution, and it's a problem that's born of having a roster that's in a huge amount of flux this season. So,
I think that perhaps my favorite thing about this season is watching Wiki solve these problems.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, he's a good coach.
I was not high on this hire.
Mm-mm.
And I am willing to like raise my hand and say I was dead fucking wrong. This guy is a smart coach. He's a smart coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see him get a full suite of players that are good.
Yeah. Amen.
And hopefully we'll see that as the season goes on. And hopefully we will see this team create another competent performance that is organized and makes sense. And maybe we can get some more points.
Points would be
Colorado
good.
Colorado Rapids.
So
we'll see. We'll see.
What I recommend is that, instead of spending money in the stadium, which, is the stadium, it's whatever, right? But we go have tacos every single game. Every single game, home game, we go have tacos before we go to the game. So even if they lose, we win. Right?
You've had some elite El Pastor. You are happy.
That is that's the key to happiness.
Elite El Pastor, maybe some tripo, maybe some carne asada.
Yes.
No tripo for Cody?
I'm out on that. Can't do it.
There are a lot of wonderful options.
Yes.
You can check all of them out before the game, before you go this weekend. And we will hope to see a wonderful performance from this club. Certainly, we hope to see a competent performance from them.
Yes.
And we will be back next week to break it all down. And until then, I'm Drew. He's Cody. We will talk to y'all next week.
Go Sporting.
Start to ignite.